All right, let's talk urinary tract health. So nobody likes a urinary tract infection. Kidney stones are one of the most painful things there are. And, there's ways you can deal with this. What really causes a kidney stone, for example? So you got two different types. You got uric acid crystals that can turn into stones. That's from protein metabolism, either too much of it or poor metabolism. So you have that problem. And then you have calcium stones. Calciums are made of calcium. So they come from high calcium levels in the blood. The blood has to have very specific calcium levels in balance with other things. So if the calcium starts to get high in the bloodstream, then it's going to dump it out through the kidneys. You have too much calcium, it starts to bond together, it eventually forms a stone. Those stones eventually start to make their way down the ureter from the kidney to the bladder, and it causes excruciating pain. We don't want any of that. So what can we do about that? First off, we need to hydrate. Hydration is one of the biggest things when it comes to the kidneys. The kidneys its job is to basically control the amount of fluid in the body, as well as a few other things. But it does that through controlling the amount of proteins and salt and minerals and that type of stuff. Making sure we get enough water. Now, how much is enough water? There's a lot of speculation out there. A good rule of thumb is half your body weight in ounces. For most of us, we're going to be looking at least 64 ounces of water, because I know our weight these days in the United States varies quite a bit. So that's starting to get a little hairy there with the weight and how much we should drink. So 64 ounces with no exercise should be your bare minimum. Now, you start exercising, you need to start adding in 8 to 16 ounces per hour of exercise just to counteract that water loss through that exercise. Now, you start throwing in alcohol and caffeine, and we really also need to add in more water. Water means water. That doesn't mean tea. That doesn't mean coffee. That doesn't mean any other thing that you can think of. It means water, pure water. You can add some lemon to your water if you really want to. I don't really like it, but you can add some flavors if that gets you to drink your water. Essential oils are a great way to add some flavor if you're looking for an option. Lemon, lime, wild orange, all kinds of different options. You can put a drop in, get some water in your body that way if you hate the taste of water. Those are the big things that we need to do. Now, we also need to control our protein intake. We don't want too much. We don't want too little. That can increase the amount of uric acid in there, as well as some of a protein called albumin that can also get in there. Sugar control is another thing. Obviously, diabetes is a big thing for the kidneys. Those people with diabetes and high blood sugars, you'll start to dump sugar out through the urinary tract. Now, that can lead to all kinds of problems. But controlling our sugar overall for both diabetics and non-diabetics is a critical thing in life. So what can we do when we do start to get, say, a urinary tract infection? So the biggest thing to do with a urinary tract infection is first blast your water way up. You need to be drinking a ton of water. It just keeps flushing those bacteria out. Think of them trying to hold on to the walls of that bladder, that type of thing, and you just keep rushing water by them. That's one way to help. One thing I like to use is a concentrated cranberry product called Cranberry Complex. Yes, you can try to drink cranberry juice, but if you go look at cranberry juice, a lot of it is cut with apple juice, other things, loads of sugar. So you can do that, but its effectiveness is kind of weak because of all that. So taking it in a tablet form where it's concentrated gets those substances from the cranberries that into your bloodstream, and then it's excreted through your kidneys and into your bladder. So why does that matter? Well, those substances make it really hard for the bacteria to stay sticking to the walls and grow in those areas. So it basically makes it really slippery for them and flushes them out. So coupled with that increased water, you can really make an impact there. That's urinary tract infections. When we start to see kidney stones, we want to look at, first off, what type of stone it is. If it is a uric acid stone, we need to figure out why we're not processing our uric acid quite right. But what we can start to use is Alvoplex. That helps get some of that out of the bloodstream. There's an enzyme in there that helps break some of that down. And what that does is lower those uric acid levels. So that's going to work on the uric acid type of stones in your body. Now, the most common stone is a calcium-based stone. Now, there's a lot of different things that we need to look at with that. Again, that Alvoplex is going to help break some of that down. But also we need to look at why our calcium is high in the first place. Some things to look at there are going to be, do you have enough vitamin F moving calcium from your bloodstream to your tissues? You see that a lot with people taking high doses of vitamin D on a regular basis. They get too much calcium in their bloodstream, and without that vitamin F, it does not move into the tissues. So therefore it accumulates in the bloodstream and therefore out through your kidneys, making kidney stones. Making sure you have that. Now we provide that vitamin F with a substance called Cataplex F. That's kind of the best way to get that and control that situation. You can also decrease your vitamin D intake. That's one way to look at those stones. Now, when we get into just general kidney health, we like to use a product called RenaFood. That is a combination of a few products. It uses some of that Arginex that helps flush out those kidneys and is a detoxer. It also creates an extract. It also contains an extract that helps rebuild the kidneys and signals the body to heal those kidneys. So that's our general product for supporting those kidneys. Those are pretty much the key things for supporting your kidney health in general. Now there's a lot more complicated issues that can come along, but really targeting our water intake and making sure that our calcium levels in our bloodstreams are regulated are the big things to taking care of our kidneys.